Our lives will be better soon, you'll see, if you break some bread with me. When our two worlds collide, it's so easy to take sides. So we're trying to find a better way by baking bread today.
Hello everyone, and you're all very welcome to Ballybeg House. Those of you who have been here before, you're welcome back, Fáilte Rash, and those of you who are new to here, you're all extremely welcome to our night tonight. This is a breezy night. So any of you who know breezy, know breezy. And any of you who don't know breezy now, you will certainly know her when the night is over. Okay? Breezy is here with her guests, and we know it's going to be a lovely, lovely night. I suppose just maybe I know there are a lot of visitors here tonight. We just want to tell you a wee bit about who we are. We're a small committee here in Glenties, and we do our best to showcase local art, culture and crafts. Here we have used this space last summer, and this is our second summer to use the space to promote everything that's local. And here we have an art gallery. Mick is the artist, where he's at the door. And just back here we have a pop-up shop, and everything in that shop is made locally. Just maybe as well, when you're here in Glenties, you'll see the name Ballybeg and you'll see the name Lughnasa a lot. Okay, this is the home place of this is the home place of Patrick McGill, and it was the summer holiday place for Brian Friel. Patrick McGill is an author and a poet, and Brian Friel is the playwright who wrote many plays. Ballybeg, we call this house Ballybeg House. It's really the Lughnasa Creative Arts Centre. We call this place then Ballybeg House because every time that Brian Friel used the name Glenties in his plays, he really, when he used the name Ballybeg, he meant Glenties. So just if you ever hear or go to his plays and you hear Ballybeg, or you know that it's Glenties he was talking about. And Lughnasa comes from that great, wonderful play called Dancing at Lughnasa, which will be in Glenties. We're having a Lughnasa Festival of Lughnasa Festival, I don't know what is, the Lughnasa Festival in the first weekend of August, the bank holiday weekend in August, and Dancing at Lughnasa will be performed 2 nights, maybe 3, but 2 anyway, okay? And there'll be lots of brochures and flyers. You'll pick them up here tonight as well if you want to come along. Okay, so I know that's enough now really, but it's just to give you an idea of what we're about. We're about to start, but I suppose we had a plan for the summer that we would organise different events for the summer, and one day I was in here and I was kind of pottering around, and Breezy and Helen were in and they were chatting, and we thought, well, it'd be nice to have something, maybe we'll do something on the 12th of July, of the day that was in it. And Helen and Breezy both started chatting, and I was just kind of mulling around and wasn't really taking part in the conversation, but I was listening to them and I said, my God, I was really intrigued and really interested. Helen was talking about her memories of living in Dublin in North County Dublin in the time of the Troubles, and Breezy was talking about her memories of her times here in Glenties around the 12th of July time. So I'm going to say no more. I want to welcome Breezy and Helen, and they're going to tell their story.
You know, Helen, when I was growing up, anytime I heard the word trouble, I looked over my shoulder, for I was wondering what had I done wrong now. But no, I grew up down the town. My parents owned a wee hotel, And every July, from I was knee-high to a grasshopper, I remember the same families coming year in and year out. There was the Mulhollands, there was the Raffertys, God, Michaela, Suzanne, many's a fickin' fun day we had. I wonder what they're at now. But anyway, and there was a couple that used to come, the Twigs they were called. They had no children, and they were middle-aged, and they were coming for so many years that they were endeared in the community, and they used to be asked to judge jiving competitions that would be in the local hall. But yes, the families came year in, year out. I had no idea as a child that there was any trouble. Do you know what I mean? Or any disease.
They came before the 12th of July.
Always before the 12th of July. But sure, as children, the 12th of July had no... You know, somebody told me that the further you live from the border, the less impact the Troubles had on people. But anyway, like we used to hear Mommy and Daddy talking and there'd be words, but we were never, didn't understand what was going on. And yes, then, and was it 1972 was the Bloody Sunday?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember Bloody Sunday happening. And I was only a child, like I was only, 8? And I remember at home a solemnness, a heaviness came in the house. In fact, any house you went into in the community, there was a heaviness. The whole village had a dark cloud over it. And were there black flags up and down the street? Yeah, I think I remember.
And I'm telling you, I might tell you to sit back a bit because you can catch everybody there.
All right.
Now.
But yes, and again I remember hearing words.
Yes.
British soldiers, killings, murder, and my grandmother, may she be happy wherever she is, she became a big fan of Father Daly. Bishop, did he become a bishop in the end?
In the end, yeah.
You know, that iconic image
of the white
flag.
Yeah.
You know, so while we knew something terrible had happened, we didn't exactly piece anything together. Later, of course, as I got older, I realised everything that was happening. But following that January, it was that Bloody Sunday happened. In that July, again, same families. You probably remember the Raffertys and the Mulhollands, Christine, because you used to be about the Kelv. But the following July, who came to stay but Bernadette Devlin? My God, a hero.
A superstar.
She was a superstar.
Yeah.
You know, people came just to be in the company of Bernadette Devlin. And I hadn't a clue who she was. All I was interested in was off gallivanting with the Raffertys and the Mulhollands and other families that came as well. But like that's my recollection. The Troubles, they really didn't impact on me, and I'd say on any of us, the way that it should have.
Well, yeah, and when we, as Anne said, when we started this conversation, a couple of, maybe 2 months ago, whenever we started, and it was very informal, and like I grew up as in North County Dublin in Portrane. And my early childhood, both my parents were psychiatric nurses, so we lived in the staff houses. And Portrane at the time was like, it was like out in the middle of the country. It was beside the sea,
Dublin,
very rural Dublin.
Yeah.
So my early childhood was there, and there was anybody that worked in the hospital, and it was an asylum, as that was the word that was used. Anybody that worked, whether they were nurses or whatever they were, they lived in this. It was like a community. We lived in the staff houses, and I was there as a small child. But I vividly remember Charles Mitchell. Do you remember Charles Mitchell on the black and white telly in the corner? And my mother was always knitting and my father was the other side and my mother put down her knitting. And Charles Mitchell said something like, the refugees are coming. Now, if Charles Mitchell had, and somehow my mother, she put down her knitting and she said, John, the refugees are coming. Now, how did my mother know they were coming to our area? Like, mothers seem to know everything, but they when she said it, I remember thinking, she could have said anything, like, oh, the aliens are coming. I did not know what the word refugee meant as a small child. It was about 8 or 9. So there must have been a meeting, and Mrs. Dealey, the next door neighbour, she was making fruit scones, and Mammy was making brown bread, and then the light of heaven to her, Mrs. Byrne, was making jelly. And we were getting every house. There was 8 vacant, say, staff houses, and every
Refugees
house were going to come to our area, and they were going to get brown bread and scones and a pot of jelly and ice cream and wafers. Now, how Mrs. Byrne was going to distribute even a pot of jelly, and you well know if you got jelly and ice cream and wafers. It was kind of, that was a real treat. You know, you get that on a Sunday after the dinner, maybe.
Yeah.
But anyway, so a very short time after that, was it a week? Again, the memory of the bus arriving from Belfast. And my mother was there, and the pram, and the other women, and it was like the welcoming committee for the committee even, anyway. So they arrived, and we were there, and it was like, as I say, and I just, again, this vivid memory of women and small children and women with babies on their hips, and the bus stopped, and there was children clamouring over each other, and like you, all I was concerned, I was going to make a friend.
Aye.
And I was there, and I was all excited because we were kind of giving them jelly and ice cream, and but
You were hoping to get a bowl of it.
yeah. And it was just this memory of these women being totally bewildered and overwhelmed by the displacement, really. And Belfast and the tight headscarf and rollers and getting off the bus, and as I say, the children clambering over each other, and like, as you say, like, we asked questions but they weren't answered. But I have a vivid memory of why are these people, women and children, arriving
And no
where I
man.
lived? No
man.
And my memories is just that they came, I didn't make a friend, and they went. It was just like that.
It was just that one group.
In that was all that bus arriving and the memory and then.
Well, it must have been terrible for them.
But again, no realisation of what actually was happening at the time.
You were telling me another story about your Aunt Stella.
Auntie Stella was married to my father's brother, and they were Roscommon people. But Auntie Stella, like as you did in the 70s, they came to Portrane on their holidays. Like, there was 5 of us and there was 5 of those children, but we never went to Belfast. But my Uncle Jerry and my Auntie Stella owned a pub in Belfast.
Yes.
And they used to come down the summertime. Now, to be honest with you, I was a bit afraid of my Auntie Stella. I told you this. Like, she was a sharp woman. She's a Belfast woman. And I used to say to my mother, Ma'am, I'm not too fond of her. You know, she'd give you a clip around the ear or whatever. And my mother used to say, Helen, she's troubled by the troubles. Poor Stella.
I think that's such a...
Yeah. But again, as a small child, I didn't know what that meant or whatever. And then the memory of my mother running in one day with a telegram and to my father and saying, John, and like, she was standing with the telegram and she was shaking, and as a small, not fully understanding what was going on, but they, as I said, they owned a pub in Belfast, and it said on the telegram, pub blown up, Stella and the children are okay. And again, watching my mother's face, the shock, the horror, and no real appreciation or understanding of what happened, other than I was afraid because my mother was afraid. You know. So that's kind of when we were talking about, they were the two kind of memories that came to And that memory from mother saying Stella was troubled by the troubles, you know.
I love that.
Yeah,
Love that
yeah.
In the course of our talking with each other, I remembered when before I was no further than Strabane and Derry a very odd time until the middle to late 70s. And then my parents sold the Kelvin to a family from Cookstown, the Farrells. And one of their daughters, well, they had 2 daughters and 2 sons. Paula, a little bit younger than myself, but unfortunately Paula passed over this year, only a young woman. But Paula and I became friends. And Paula was as cool, arriving in Glenties, you know, with her denims and her drain pipes. Oh, it was, you know. But Paula, it must have been during the summer, she was going to visit her family up in Cookstown, you know, that were... And she asked me if I would go along.
So you were going abroad?
I was going abroad. Abroader than I'd ever been before. And the only thing I had to do was convince Mommy and Daddy. Well, however I convinced them to let me go. So Paula and I headed, of course under supervision, headed to Cookstown. Sure, for God's sake, I was in heaven. The boutiques, the second-hand shops. And on a Thursday, I think it was a Thursday, there was market day in Cookstown. Do you know what I found out? The market's going in Cookstown since the early 1600s.
She loves
You were around there. You were around there.
Yeah.
But anyhow, so yes, I was, and the boys. Paula and I were going to get our hair done. It was the day of the market. We were going to the market first, and then we were going to the hairdressers. Sure, I was like a calf at a bucket for the first time. The stalls, I mean, the Harvest Fair, of course, is hard to beat. But these stalls, the colours. Anyway, there I'm browsing along, and the next thing I noticed, people are disappearing. And I thought, great, first in the queue, you know. And the next thing I felt a presence beside me, and I turned around and I looked up, and there was a soldier standing with a gun telling me to move on, that there was a bomb scare. He might as well have told me that I was going to have a calf in the morning, for I didn't hear anything. And I just carried on, and the next thing, now while he didn't push me, he made it known
He was moving you forward.
he was moving me on, and I joined Paula, very disappointed, on the footpath. Anyway, it was nearly time for our hairdressing appointment, and then we went to the hairdressers. We were sitting waiting to be called, and the next thing, a massive explosion, and we were blown right across the room. All the women that were waiting, and glass in around us. And I remember not exactly lying, half sitting, kind of looking around me, and I could see that some of the women had glass
And cuts and blood, yeah. But
thank
nobody
God,
died.
nobody died. Paula and I were fine. And to tell you the truth, the only concern I had was I wasn't going to get my hair done that day. You know, and that is the truth. I felt no fear.
Yeah.
Just, you know, it's always intrigued me that, well...
Yeah. Well, when we started this conversation and kind of stirring up memories of, you know, North County Dublin and the end of the road, and like when I was living in, I think I remember there was a youth club in Swords, and my friend Una will attest to that down there. And it was a disco on a Friday night, and I was going to get the shift with Peter McKittrick. Now, and I bullied and coerced my father across the border, like you know the memory of the soldiers and guns, but across the border in Newry. There was a market, the same as, and I convinced my father and my mother to go to Jonesborough because I was going to get Levi jeans, cheesecloth shirt and love beads. You remember the love beads?
Oh, no bandana, no.
No, I know. And I was going to the youth club, and anyway, we opened the car, and like that, We were surrounded. There was soldiers and guns, and my mother was saying the rosary. My father would look at, pick up the anxiety, but I didn't give a continental.
We know.
Yes, and all I was concerned was I was getting me denim jeans, my cheesecloth, and my love beads, and I was going to the disco, and I was going to get the shift of Peter McGuinness to Donny Osmond singing. They call it puppy love, and I guess they'll never know. But anyway, when we got the stuff, the soldiers searched the car. I didn't care. Back down the road, and I went to the disco. And do you know what, Breezy? The fecker never even looked at me. Probably sins. So. And when we talked about it again, I was saying, you know, for us, like, why did we not feel afraid? Why did we not feel fear?
Well, I often wondered that myself, and some years ago, I was talking with a friend about it, and they had grown up in Northern Ireland during the Troubles, and he said to me, you know, Breezy, when you don't grow up with war, bloodshed, bombs, conflict, how can you know the fear of it, you know? And that kind of made sense to me, along with the further away you are from the border, the less impact it all had on us. You know, we read it in later years, reading the newspapers and so on, but, you know, it really didn't have an impact on us. And then this year will be the 10th International Bake Bread for Peace Day. And the first year that it was launched, if you like, I thought the only way or the best way I can enroll people to this initiative is to take to the road. And I've always been good at that, you know. So the first year, I decided I would visit the 4 provinces. It took me 4 years, of course. The first year I went to Northern Ireland.
You were very well received.
Everywhere I went, you know, and actually people came looking for me to, you know, join. They would gather family, friends, neighbours around. And we spent evenings singing, telling stories, baking, you know, all in peace and for peace. So the following year I decided to tackle Connacht. Well, you know what Cromwell said, to hell or to Connacht?
So it wasn't the same experience.
It was totally the opposite. It was hard work. In Connacht, Munster and Leinster in the 3 following years, hard work to even explain what the initiative was about, you know. But I mean, obviously, I got invited into, you know.
Yes.
And at the heels of the hunt, like it all went well. But again, proof the further from the border.
Yeah.
You know.
And if you don't.
Yeah.
And like, did you ever think that peace would come in Northern Ireland, Breezy?
You know, Helen, there were times when no, I didn't think it would. All those years, Helen.
And people, like when we talked again, all those years of people dreaming about peace, dreaming that they might live in that peace would happen, and dreaming about that.
I saw the devil, he was running after me, past the Madonna, who was happy just to be in a room that was falling around her with thunder that was coming from the floor, not above as it should be. When I looked around the door, I'd just come running through his gone, and I woke to find myself in the middle of this song I'd been dreaming. Then I saw the women from the eastern world come walking across the desert from their home, looking for and my answers to their questions didn't measure to their strength. And someone murdered someone, and the money had all been spent, and the cause they'd all been working for got swallowed in the greed. And I thought about these women and their struggle to be free. Well, I've been dreaming, only dreaming. I've been dreaming, only dreaming. And I thought about these women and their struggle to be free while I've been dreaming. Well, then I saw a building with 3 women trapped within. One threw a bomb and another woman screamed as she pulled the broken body of her child from the chaos to the third dressed in green in the uniform of order. And as I calmly watched, I suddenly could see that they all looked the same and they all looked like me. But I've been dreaming, only dreaming. I've been dreaming, only dreaming. And as I calmly watched, I suddenly could see that they all look the same and they all look like me. But I've been dreaming. Do you wonder what it means? All these pictures in my dreams, all the yearning and the fear and all the terror and the screams. Well, I can still feel the devil round the corner of my memory, and he's waiting for a woman who won't stand up and be counted. And I know there's others like me afraid to tell the truth, all sitting back and waiting for someone to take the blame. But that's just dreaming. We're just dreaming, only dreaming, only dreaming. And I know there's others like me afraid to face the truth, or since sitting back and hoping that somebody else will through. Only dreaming, we're just dreaming, that's just dreaming, only
Thanks, Phil. Beautiful. Do you know, Breezy, just and about dreaming about peace? Like the peace talks at that time, and they were faltering,
Yes.
and they were in the
Oh,
room
it
for
was out
days.
on the world news.
Yeah,
that
and they
it
were
was
and
looking bad.
they were,
yeah,
and
yeah.
only for the intervention of Tommy Sands
That's
at
right.
the time.
Yeah, he gathered. When he heard the talks were faltering,
Yeah.
he gathered other musicians and singers and children from both Catholic and Protestant schools, and they gathered on the steps of Stormont, and they started singing, "Carry on, carry on. You can hear the people singing. Carry on, carry on, until peace will come again." I was once told that I sing in a universe of keys. And it's true.
And
But even that's not going to stop me singing. No, seriously, they all get Tommy and the musicians and the children they gathered, and when the politicians inside Stormont heard the children singing, I think it was Mo Moland that said it was a definitive moment for them, that they knew she was determined. I was told that she stood at a table like this here, pulled her wig off and insisted that they find compromise, and she led them all out
Onto the steps.
And started singing along with them. Carry on, carry on, you can hear the people singing. Carry on, carry on, until peace will come again. Do you know what, Helen? I think we should sing one more Carry On, and then
Well,
your man there.
your man, that fella in the skirt.
We, the participants in the multi-party negotiations, believe that the agreement we have negotiated offers a truly historic opportunity for a new beginning.
The tragedies of the past have left a deep and profoundly regrettable legacy of suffering. We must never forget those who have died or been injured and their families. But we can best honor them through a fresh start, in which we firmly dedicate ourselves to the achievement of reconciliation, tolerance, and mutual trust, and to the protection and vindication of the human rights of all.
We are committed to partnership, equality, and mutual respect as the basis of relationships within Northern Ireland, between North and South, and between these islands.
We reaffirm our total and absolute commitment to exclusively democratic and peaceful means of resolving differences on political issues, and our opposition to any use of threat or force by others for any political purpose, whether in regard to this agreement or otherwise.
No. The Good Friday Agreement ended decades of violent conflict in Northern Ireland, and you know, it really should be held up as a flagship to all the troubled nations in our world that peace is possible.
And to quote the writer James Maxwell, an uneasy peace is better than no peace at all.
That was round one. Now, I'm going to do a bit of baking while I'm chatting to you, but while I'm setting up the baking bowl and all the rest, Hannah, will you give us a bar of something? Good woman. Hannah, do you know, I remember Hannah when she was ficking in a nappy nearly. But I hadn't seen her for years. Over there now.
Hannah and her mammy her mammy and I were best buddies, and we came to Donegal together. Hannah lost her mammy 13 years ago, but she still comes back to visit her Auntie Helen all the time. And I only texted her last night and said, you'll sing for us this evening. So at great expense, we've Hannah Carlin.
For you, there'll be no crying, and for you, the sun will be shining, 'cause I feel that when I'm with you, it's alright. I know it's right. And the songbirds are singing like they know the score. And I love you, I love you, I love you like never before. Astorine, no be it clean. Astorine, Ben Green, exalshu, snurratame, they knock, tashig yard, Maris kyard. Istan chain kjol were kjol on our on Maris chorus Toming raw lat is bay make a joe to you. I would give the world, and to you I'd never be cold, 'cause I feel that when I'm with you, it's alright. I know it's right. And the songbirds keep singing like they know the score. And I love you, I love you, I love you like never before. It's Toming raw, lad. It's bay make a joe.
Come sit you down by the fireside. We'll soon make room for you. Let your hearts have no fear, for there's no strangers here, just friends that you never knew. Good evening to you one and all. Listen now, did you hear me looking at you? While I'm chatting here and I've some guests will be coming on, I'm going to throw on a batch of scones. And, well, some of you might go home with them. Huh? Listen, bread. I use bread, I suppose, as a tool to demonstrate peace, because bread is shared by all cultures. Every culture in the world have their speciality bread, you know, and every religion in the world have reverence for bread. In the Quran, they speak of bread as being sacred, and in Hinduism, bread has special significance. The Buddhists, if they drop a piece of bread, they pick it up and they kiss it, you know. So, as I say, it brings people. What must you break apart to bring a family together? Bread.
Some bread with me. Will you break some bread with me? Won't you join our company? Our lives will be better soon, you'll see, if you break some bread.